Running is a great way for everyone to improve fitness, meet new people, and experience challenge and achievement. The reasons we take part in running are the same whether we are disabled or non-disabled. When we talk about disabled participants, we mean people who have a physical or mental impairment that has a substantial and long-term negative effect on their ability to do normal daily activities. Not all disabilities are visible. The Equality Act was introduced in 2010 to provide a modern, single legal framework with clear, streamlined law to more effectively tackle disadvantage and discrimination. Under the Equality Act, it's unlawful for running providers to discriminate against someone because of their disability. The law requires that organisations make adjustments in anticipation of disabled participants. If you organise a running event, you have an obligation to ensure that all reasonable efforts and adjustments have been made to enable disabled people to take part. This includes disabled people who want to participate as officials, volunteers, and spectators, as well as participants. Most adjustments are relatively small and simple to make. They just require some consideration about what might be needed. Making necessary modifications and considering people's needs from all underrepresented groups helps to make it a better experience for everyone, as well as meaning that more people can take part. How to make an event more inclusive. Establishing a positive and welcoming environment is one of the most effective ways of encouraging disabled people to take part in your event. Include a statement on your website and promotional material welcoming disabled people to participate in your event. Encourage them to contact you to discuss their needs and requirements and provide a phone number and contact email for a named person. Ensure that any queries from disabled people are dealt with by volunteers, officials, or event organisers who have a positive and inclusive attitude. Provide detailed information about your event so disabled people can decide for themselves whether it is suitable for them to take part or not. Include information about the route and facilities, things like what the terrain and gradient is like, where the nearest public transport is, and what parking is available. Physical barriers to participation also need to be considered, and if reasonable adjustments are possible, then they should be made. Some of these might be course width. Visually impaired runners who are running with a guide or people using aids will need sufficient space for other runners to pass. Terrain. Steep climbs, speed humps, fields, sand or mud may be difficult for some disabled people. Consider ways to avoid unfavourable terrain or see if you can provide an alternative route. Registration areas. Some disabled people, such as wheelchair users, might not be able to access areas situated on grass, so make sure registration tents and other facilities are on appropriate surfaces. Event briefings and announcements. Provide diagrams or written information for runners who are deaf or hard of hearing, or those with a learning difficulty. This is particularly important for safety announcements or if there are any changes on the day. Make sure any information is written in plain English. Facilities. Ensure that there are accessible parking bays and toilets available and that toilets are unlocked. Result displays. Ensure that any results not displayed on a large scoreboard are at a suitable height for everyone, including wheelchair users and those with short stature. Printed information. Some runners may find long, complicated or wordy information difficult to understand. Providing an accessible version of the information will help, such as easy read or using plain English. This will make the information clearer and easier for everyone to understand. Often, the simplest way to remove barriers is to speak to the disabled person directly, who will be best placed to make suggestions of what could be changed to support them to take part. Many of these barriers are simple and low cost to remove and will improve the experience for everyone taking part, not just disabled people. Specific adjustments. There are some specific adjustments that may need to be taken into consideration for certain disabled people. Visually impaired runners. Runners with a visual impairment may need to be supported by a guide who should wear a distinctive vest so that they are easily identified. If your event has entry fees, then the guide runner should not need to pay to enter the event. Wheelchair users. Consider start positions and times for wheelchair users to make it easier for them to take part without getting caught up with ambulant runners. For wheelchair racers, this might be at the front or from an earlier start time, and for those using a day chair, this might be at the back. Deaf or hard of hearing runners. Consider runners who may be deaf or hard of hearing, particularly for events that are not traffic free. This includes road crossings and marshal instructions. Ensure that volunteers and officials are fully briefed and provided with appropriate information prior to the event. Supporting disabled people to take part in running events can be straightforward, inexpensive, and a great way to create fulfilling, enriching events, providing opportunities for runners of all abilities. If you would like support to make your event more inclusive for disabled people, please contact disability@englandathletics.org. For more information, please visit www.englandathletics.org/disabilityathletics.